tutorial, we are focusing on mountain pose, which is seemingly a very easy, accessible shape. If you've been to a yoga class, you've probably done this pose numerous times. It's one of my favorites to come to center, ground in, and tune into yourself. And so we'll start from the bottom up and just find some ways to integrate some more integration into your body so that you can really feel grounded and tethered to the earth in this shape. So we'll start by standing, and before you do anything, just come to stand, bring your feet onto the ground, and just allow your feet to turn out as they naturally would. And then just take a look at your feet. For most of us, we splay our toes out to the sides. You might pigeon toe, or you might find that your feet are parallel to one another. One isn't necessarily bad or better than the other. It's just something to pay attention to and notice. If you feel more grounded with the toes turned out, you can certainly do that. However, I invite you to find some kind of equanimity in the body. And so you might shift forwards and backwards and just find your footing, and then maybe start to sway side to side. And then just notice if you favor one side or the other. And then without using your hands, try to lift and spread all 10 toes. Try to separate your pinky toe as far away from your big toe. For some of us, this is really challenging. It feels like, why can't I just move my toes, right? So look down, see if you can will your pinky toe to land as far away from your big toe as possible. And then see if you can see a sliver of your yoga mat or your floor or your carpet, wherever you're standing, your grass, your beach, wherever you are. See if you can see a sliver of your surface between every digit. If you were able to separate your toes, just stay where you are. If there's any rogue toes that need a little encouragement, just bend down and then move your toes so that you can see a little sliver of your mat between every digit. And then press your feet into the ground, glue them. Try not to move them because they're perfectly placed. So you can do this next part with your eyes closed or the eyes open, whatever feels more comfortable to you. What I'd like you to focus on is all four corners of your feet rooting down. Feel for the sensation of pressing, almost imprinting your feet into the earth, and then also have this sensation of your inner arches lifting up. So you start to activate through the feet. So you're not just sort of haphazardly arriving to stand. You're really firmly planted. You've chosen this spot, and you're committing to it completely. Try to lift up through the inner arches. Notice how the entire inseam of the legs start to fire up. You might find that the kneecaps will naturally want to lift up, which turns on the quadriceps, these muscles in the fronts of the thighs. Finding the adductors, the inner thighs turning on as well. So there's this engagement all the way from the soles of the feet. Feel for this light up from the inner edges through the inseam, through the entirety of the legs, and then start to just very subtly turn the glutes on. So there's just a little bit of contraction, finding the muscles turning on, and you're hugging the outer hips to the midline. As you're doing this, have this sensation like the inner thighs are rolling back and away. So there's almost kind of like this rinse out. So you could even take your hands onto one leg and kind of spiral the inner thigh in and the outer thigh out. So it's kind of coming in like this. Once you have that action, you can do that on both of the legs if you like. You can even touch your legs and see, are they engaged? And then if the answer is yes, you are good. If the answer is no, see if you can make them engaged, right? Turn the quads on somehow. Sometimes a little bend in the knees can help activate them. And then try to keep that activation as you come to stand back up. Squeeze your glutes, release your tailbone down. So stay where you are. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see what's happening. So for a lot of us, we have this curvature in the lower back. And depending on what you have done athletically in your life, or even by profession, we tend to have a certain tilt into our spine. Find one hand to the belly and one hand to the lower back, and then exaggerate your pelvis tilt. So allow the tailbone to lift up back behind you, and then allow the tailbone to release down. And then notice once you encourage it to release down, the core must engage. It must. And then this is the sensation that we are wanting to cultivate. So you can even place one hand on the belly and just feel the firming of the abdominal wall here. Try to maintain that engagement. And then we'll travel up, so lengthening through the side bodies. Take a moment, roll the shoulders up towards your ears. Try to grow the shoulders as far away from the hips as possible. And then allow the shoulders to release back and down. Allow the arms to rest down by your side, palms shine forward. And then start to invite electricity out through the fingertips. So there's this longing of the fingertips reaching towards the earth. You're reaching. And then in this way, you're creating more space between the earlobes and the shoulders, and you're finding that awakened quality into your body, right? And you're still engaging through the entirety of the legs. The glutes are still on, the core is still engaged, the arms are turned on, the fingertips are engaged. Good. Memorize this sensation. We're going to break up just with the upper body just for a moment. Take your hands to your head, and then use your thumbs to sort of cradle the bottom part of your skull. So right at the occipital ridge, you'll sort of lift your head away from the body. And so in this way, you're sort of gumbying out your upper body to stretch longer. And then you're trying to lift the crown of the head as high as it can be. So I sort of think of this moment of my cousin when we were kids. Every time she would see me, she would see if she was taller than me. Yeah, it's like this idea of like you're a kid and you're trying to grow taller and taller and taller. Try to maintain that height. You could even bring one hand to the top of the head. Oh my gosh, my core is so fired up just from here. Try to lift up into your hand, and then keep that length, and then release the arms down by your side. Good. How is your foundation? Are your feet still grounded? Are your legs still engaged? Is your core still lit up? Is your pelvis neutralized? Are your arms engaged? Are your fingers reaching towards the earth? Is the crown of the head reaching towards the sky? So if it isn't already, close your eyes, or if they aren't already, close your eyes and feel this mountain pose. Feel your groundedness, feel your centering to the earth, feel your upliftedness, finding that your heart is yearning towards the sky and your feet are tethered to the center of the earth. Maybe imagining roots growing through the soles of the feet, down through the center of the earth, deep roots. And then similarly, oppositionally, imagining a thread from the crown of the head, lifting up to wherever the center of the universe is, just lifting you up. And then as you breathe here, keep all the activation, just try to soften the efforting. So you keep all of that attention, and then rather than being rigid and maybe so precise, try to just soften into it. And then perhaps the breath can flow more freely in and out. Maybe you linger in your mountain pose and breathe here for as long as you wish. And I hope you enjoy. This is a way to bring awareness into your mountain pose through your sun salutations, or even if you're queuing somewhere. It's so nice to arrive in the in-between and see if you can really ground yourself to the here and the now off of the mat as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Just hit the little bell there, that is helpful. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I invite you to share it with friends, and then certainly if you have requests for future tutorials, please don't be shy. I love getting requests, and I will be with you for our next tutorial. And if you're craving more, I have information in the comments of how we can connect further. Thank you so much. Happy practicing. Love and light.